Good evening and welcome to SAFC Fan TV and another edition of the Sunday Bunch. With us tonight, with myself, Philly, we have Jack Dodds, we have the Mad Mistake, and we have super sexy Bowers, Michael Bowers in the building. Gives a wave. Come on. Don't forget, we are live, which means you can contact us after Terry's made loads of noise and stuff like that. I'll mute him while he's busy moving house. Right, are you back in the game, Terry?
I am. I forgot my sketch pad.
All right. Do you want Jack's crayons?
I've already got some, thanks, Phil.
Have you nicked them again?
No. Right. We are live, which means we are on the chat. If you wanna join in the show, tell us what you're thinking, and we'll try our best to give you a shout out. First up, we've got to give a shout out to Joseph Billingsley, who says we are 2 minutes late. That was at 3 minutes past 6. Just for future reference, Joseph, we do start at 7 and not at 6. Bristolian Mackham is there. Taffy Mackham, Robert Foster, SCFC Dave 17. Michael Fish, what's the weather going to be like tomorrow? He says, who's nervous for tomorrow yet? I know I am. And of course, our trusty editor,
as well.
CONRAD Lee is in the background, ready to speak to you as well. So I suppose we better start with Good Friday. And it turned out to be a Good Friday. Sunderland 3, Oxford United 1. Not the prettiest games to watch, but we got the 3 points. Michael, what did you think of the game?
Well, it was a tough game. Expected it to be. Oxford are a good side. They're a side pushing for the playoffs. Obviously, they started the season poorly, but they've since picked up. I know they've been a bit inconsistent recently, but they are a decent side. They're up there for a reason. I did think the first half, I saw a lot of people saying Oxford were by miles the better side, which I personally disagreed with. I felt that they were the better side up until probably the last 10 minutes of the first half. But I felt that apart from the goal, a lot of the crosses were missing everybody, and a lot of them had a bit more intensity, and they were winning the midfield battles. But I didn't think that they were particularly great. I thought when Sunderland got level, it was just about deserved. But that timing of that goal was crucial, because I think if we'd gone in 1-0 down, I don't know whether we would have gone on to win the game. The red card obviously changed it. Sykes. Obviously, I don't know if we're going to talk about the alleged stuff that happened at half time, but Oxford apparently are dropping the case against Sunderland, or whatever it is. But either way, it's a big win. And there were periods.
Michael, just 1 second. Yeah. I'll cross that off. What we was going to talk about that anyway. That's that topic about in the tunnel. But it's all right. You carry on.
Right, that's it. I've done it for you. That's it. I've done it for you. No worries. Anyway, there were points even after the red card where I was starting to get quite anxious and thinking we weren't going to win the game. But obviously, I was never been so relieved to see Jack smile, because his stream was a second ahead of mine and Dino's, I think. And when he shouted, "And it's a Sunderland goal!" I was so relieved. And I was happy. And I think obviously we sealed it in stoppage time. The Peterborough beating Fleetwood took the gloss off it slightly. Thanks very much, Fleetwood. Would have been nice if he'd bothered to hold on. But if they'd held on, we would have gone seconds. But that's an incentive for tomorrow, I guess. Big win. We've got 3 points so far on Easter weekend. Hopefully we make it 6 come 24 hours' time.
It's fair enough. Just very quickly on the chat, we've got to say, Thin SCFC, friend of the show, says, Terry doing the homework today. Mick Griffiths says, is Disco Dino in bed again? Dino and Jacob can't make it tonight, so it's just the 4 of us. Going a bit further down, Marianne Carlo from Boston. What?
Just the 4 of us.
Marianne Carlo from Boston, Massachusetts. I still can't say it. My prediction 2-1, and we got to give a massive shout out to Ryan Close, who's used the super chat, donated £10. Says, keep up the great work, lads. Round of applause for Ryan Close. Let's quickly get this out of the way, and then we won't mention it again. We have activated super chat. It is free. to chat, you can do that. But of course, if you want to purchase a super chat, all the money goes to expanding our channel and creating better content. But it is purely optional. Michael Fish as well, while we're on, forecast a 3-1 win for the lads, and Michael Fish has donated £5 as well. If you do go on the super chat, by the way, I think it comes on at £4.99. You don't have to do that. There's a slider where you can go down to £1, but just remember, it is free to chat. You don't have to do that. We are very grateful to anybody who does. Mad mistake. Sunderland 3, Oxford United 1. For me, bad game to watch, but we got the job done. Go on.
Well, I had to go and get my sketch pad because I actually forgot who scored the goals and who was even playing on Friday. I still can't remember who scored the first goal. Who scored the first goal? Anybody? Who was it?
Gooch.
How did he? Oh, yes, tap in, wasn't it? It was a tap in, of course. Yes, right. That's why I'm getting old.
Jack,
I'm getting old. I need this.
Jack, you could have been not so pleasant. You should have just gone an Oxford player, Henry.
Oh, I see. Yeah, they got the first goal, didn't they? Oh well.
Got the first goal of the game.
I just don't get. I don't get the 4-2-2-2. If that's the system he was playing from the start. Last time we played that, we didn't play very well. On Saturday of Good Friday, whenever it was terrible. The first half of the game, it was awful football to watch. We're not playing good football. It's simple as, like Dano said the other week. We have to accept at this moment in time, we're not going to play good football, but if we can grind out the results, that's all that matters. I mean, the first half, what can I say? Scowen and Power were pretty poor in the midfield, I thought. For their goal, they just ran straight through our midfield. There was nobody there. Nobody there whatsoever. It was a well-taken goal. Burge had no chance of saving that at all. It was a very well-taken goal. And I thought Oxford, to be fair, they played decent in the first half. And then we came back in it towards the end of the first half. And I thought, I was going mental. I thought we were going to just be 1-0 down and had a feeling we were going to get beat or possibly a 1-1 draw. So the second half to come out, just before the first half, I saw Gooch scored. I was absolutely over the moon. I was absolutely buzzing. And the second half, we played slightly better. They went down to 10 men, and we finally... Would we have scored against 11 men? And I'm not sure if we would have scored against 11 men. But that's by the by. They went down to 10 men, and we got 2 goals and a 3-1 victory. Absolutely buzzing. If we play that way against Peterborough, for me, we won't win. But a draw tomorrow is an acceptable result. But yeah, on Friday again, like I said before, it wasn't a great performance. It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch, especially being a Sunderland fan. And being old, it's hard on the old ticket. But I'm over the moon, absolutely buzzing with the 3 points. And I had a coupon on Friday. I had Peterborough to win, Hull to win, Portsmouth to win, and Sunderland to win. And I was happy to lose that £5 on that coupon if Peterborough and Hull didn't get a goal. So when they scored, I was disappointed but happy at the same time.
You cash out for 15
How much did you win? I
ended up winning £45.
That's all right. Good lad. Right, just very quickly then on the chat. Jonathan Ryan says, Happy Easter to you all. Have you all had a great day? Have you all had a good day?
Oh, yes, very good.
Yes, very good
That's
day.
All right.
First weekend back refereeing, which I've missed quite a lot.
Oh, did you have you refereed this weekend then? Oh, good.
Yes, I have.
Good.
First weekend.
Who were you refereeing, Jack Dodds? What age group?
Under 15s and under 14s this week.
Right. Did you get any abuse of the parents or was social distancing okay?
Yeah. Who's your father? Who's your father? Who's your father, referee?
No.
Yeah. Marianne Carlo over in the States says, Happy Easter, boys. Love Philly's egg. You mean this then? All right, fair dues. So
a bit toasted.
Philly. Is it possible
yes.
Karen can go and melt some chocolate and put some on top of your head?
Oh, we did that last night.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Easter weekend football.
She put some chocolate on my head. Right.
Homer was Cadbury's mind.
I don't know. She licked it off though, so that was all right.
Right.
Moving on, lads.
Yes.
Right. So Jack, it was a 3-1 win. What did you think of the game?
Yeah, I thought we struggled with Oxford's physicality for the most part. We did grow into the game, but I don't think we had much presence up top. I think Wyke struggles when he's on his own. And I know Gooch was a second striker, but he wasn't much cop yesterday, let's be honest. He gave the ball away plenty of times. He didn't really offer much of an outlet. The tide did seem to turn, I think, probably towards the end of the first half, above anything else. I thought that's a nice cap, Phil.
Well, they're all saying I've got an egg. So...
Oh, right. So is that to stop the abusive comments? Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think the tide started to turn kind of late in the second half, but particularly in the second half, things really got going. I think Ross Stewart's inclusion did help us out in that. And the red card, of course, would we have got the second goal without the red card? Maybe not. Just take a look at the goals. I thought, go on, Phil. Yes, I know you want in. Is it Rod Stewart?
Just very quickly, Ty Dobbs said, Jack, you refereed my game today.
Yes, it was the goalkeeper, I think. He came up with unsupporters. Hello, Ty.
Ty, was he a good referee? Is Jack a good referee, Ty? Give us a thumbs up. He's a good referee.
Best in the world.
Rubbish. Who's your father?
Better than all the League One referees, not that that will say much.
Sorry,
exactly.
Jack. Sorry, Jack, we interrupted you. Go on.
Yeah, just to take a look at the goals, I thought Scowen, for their goal, could have done a lot more. When I watched it back, he just kind of ran alongside his man, and it's one of them where you either commit to the player who's got the ball and you try and cut in, or you go and mark the other player who ended up scoring the goal, and he didn't do either. And it's one of them things where Scowen's entire role is to be the industrious defensive midfielder. And if he can't even do that, what's he going to do? We all know how poor he is on the ball in terms of giving the ball away. So when off the ball, he's got to contribute something, and that's his main role. So I was quite disappointed in Scowen yesterday. I know McFadden could have been back, but your role as a defensive midfielder when a fullback bomb thawed, and I thought you had every right considering the counter-attack we were on. Your role as a defensive midfielder in that is to go and cover for him. Jones, fantastic again, an outlet every single time. And I thought we made a bit of a statement by coming back and winning the game that we previously might not have done. We saw the game, and getting that last goal was such a relief. I mean, my heart was going 100 miles an hour, but all eyes go to Peterborough now. But the performance, as much as I'm a results over performances guy, the performance has got to be better tomorrow, because if we play that against Peterborough, we'll be 4-0 down within half an hour.
Really? Right, okay. Yeah, well, and that pitch is not very good though, is it? Right, Ty Dobbs says, I was the keeper who spoke to you, which you said, and then a little bit later on it says, he was a good referee. We won 4-0. We won 4-0, and it was a clean sheet for him. Rough as a Badger says, we all agree the referees. I can't read that anyway. So old school chants coming back there. Right, so in the game, there was that incident of apparently their goalie getting headbutted in the tunnel. They were going to press charges, then not. So what do you reckon? Did it happen? Are they twisting the truth? Jack?
Well, obviously we don't know. We didn't see it. So we can only go off what other people have said. I think from them saying they're going to press charges to then instantly saying they're not, my perception of events would be that they thought they were all in the right and had every right to go and press charges, and then they maybe had to think about things, reviewed the events in the head, or potentially just thought there's a lack of evidence and thought we'll drop the case. In the heat of the moment, a lot of people couldn't want to do things like press charges and then actually go, do you know what it is? Even if we were to press charges, we wouldn't be successful in our trial. And I think that's why they've probably decided not to in the end. But dare I say, but these things happen in football. You know, football's an emotional game. It brings out the best and the worst in people. And, you know, we cannot really comment because we haven't really seen it.
Yeah, true. Terry, go on, you want in?
I actually have seen it. When a couple of seasons away, I think towards the end of last season, or season whenever, when we were in the matches, I used to sneak onto the pitch and take some video footage of the players coming out, like with the cameramen. And then at one point, I sneaked into the tunnel, and I've got a spy camera, and I put it in the tunnel. Now, what happened was the guy walked over to their keeper, kissed his forehead and says, thank you for letting that goal in that Gooch scored, and then walked away. And they perceived it as an attack of some sort, you know what I mean? So that's why when they look back at the footage, they realised, because I did approach Carl Robinson with the footage and said, look at the footage. He kissed him on the forehead. How is that How was that a punch or a headbutt? You know, you need to get it sorted out. And Carl Robinson said, "All right, sorry, mate," and backed down. And then he reversed the sort of what, Phil?
Terry, put the cans back in the fridge, please.
What? That's a fact. They kissed him on the forehead.
All right, fair enough. You can show us the footage later.
I will do.
So, Michael, you've already had a little say on that. What's your take on the incident, the alleged
put it this
incident,
way,
if you like, in the tunnel?
We know fine well. You know what type of person Carl Robinson's like. He's probably someone who's trying to deflect from the fact that his team's lost the game. So it wouldn't surprise me maybe something like that did happen. But it might. They also might be exaggerating the truth a little bit. Again, I don't know what's been said. I don't know what actually happened. Obviously, only those who were actually present at the time know what actually happened. But I think maybe, like I agree with Jack. I think the fact that they've gone from we're going to press charges to right now all of a sudden we're going to drop charges. There mustn't be enough in that to genuinely have a good case at pressing charges against Sunderland. And that's a good thing. That's the last thing we need over our heads right now. Yeah. And same with Oxford. They're pushing for the playoffs. We're pushing for the top two. So there you go.
Right. I mean, I don't know how common this is nowadays, but I mean, back in the early 90s, I was stadium announcer at Roker Park. And
wasn't that you?
I saw many incidents in the tunnel. No, I wouldn't say weekly, but regular occurrences where there'd be bust ups. But again, that was back in the 90s. So obviously something's gone on. I think like Jack says, I think when you slept on it and next day you feel different about it and think it's probably not worth pursuing it. Of course, we were winning yesterday, and at one point we went into second place because Peterborough and Hull weren't winning, and then of course they got those late winners. Are them two starting to bottle it? Hull's results recently haven't been superb, have they? And Peterborough, I do think it's still very much. They're still very much in it, and it's a 3-horse race. Michael,
Peterborough
it's easy. True, but Peterborough have scored 7 against Saturn, but games like that tend to be a one-off. It doesn't tend to be reflected across an entire season. Peterborough might take more heart from their win on Friday because it's a game that they were drawn late on and managed to find a way to win it late on. But in saying that, I mean, if you want to look at it from this perspective, Hull's 2 goals, one was a penalty and one was a fortunate deflected effort late on. But at the same time, they could argue for us, would we have beaten Oxford had they not gone down to 10 men? We don't know that. It's a funny one because obviously tomorrow, I know we'll get on to Peterborough later. I'm literally petrified for tomorrow. And the reason is because of what's at stake, what we could do, of going second. It's probably out of desperation to just not be in this league next season. As for whether it's been a 3-horse race, I think it is completely a 3-horse race. I think Lincoln, I've said all along, I think Lincoln have overperformed to be where they are. Not saying they're a bad side. They're not. They gave us close games at the Stadium of Light twice. But I think they'll start to drop off. Now, it wouldn't shock me if Lincoln didn't finish the playoffs, actually. We're 8 points clear of 4th, I think. But so it's absolutely a 3-horse race. Psychologically, all we've got to do is just finish above 1 of Peterborough Hull. For me, that's it.
Right. Okay. Jack, do you think it's going to go the 3 teams right to the very wire, or do you think one of them's going to drop off and then the other 2 are going to pull away? Do you think
hopefully Peterborough drop off tomorrow. I'll just say that.
Fine, Michael. You say what you want.
Of course. I mean, I think we've all actually got to still play each other. I know we have to play both Hull and Peterborough, but I actually think they've got to play each other as well. And I think a lot will go down onto them.
No, they don't, by the way. Sorry. They've already played each other twice.
Stato.
Carry on.
I mean, if we were to beat Peterborough tomorrow, could that be all that it takes? I think it comes down to just how you cope in your final games. I mean, I don't have a vast knowledge in terms of who the other 2 teams have got to play. I know Michael probably knows every single one of them, but Yeah,
I do, funnily enough, but you go on.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot could go down to games like tomorrow when we've got to play a Hull, because it's 6-pointers. If we win tomorrow, we also prevent Peterborough from getting 3 points, and we just extend that advantage that I think we actually currently have the advantage. I think if we win every game until the rest of the season, I think considering games at hand and such, I think we actually will be top of the league if we win every game for the rest of the season. I mean, not that I'm saying that's going to happen, but yeah, I think a lot will come down to those games that we've got against other teams. And if we can beat both of them, then obviously you get yourself 3 points and you take 3 points away from them, and it just extends that advantage that you could otherwise have. So that's what it'll come down to, in my opinion, is how the games go when we play Hull and Peterborough. Aside from that, I can't really comment on what I think is going to happen with their squads, because we just don't know. League One teams are very unpredictable. I think that's probably one of the main things we've learned in our horrible 3 seasons in this division.
Right, okay. Anthony Perth on the chat says Power defo rubbed their nose in it with his goal celebration, which was spurred on from probably what happened in the tunnel. That's a fair point. Since we've mentioned Jack's a referee, Kevin Caden says, Jack, what about Carl Robinson's red card?
Well, I imagine it's because of something he said to one of the officials, but because I wasn't there, I couldn't really tell you, to be honest.
Right, okay then. Fair dues. I've just seen your message. Right then, Terry. I forgot what the question was. God, that's good. Oh yeah, three horse race. Yeah. 3-horse race right to the wire. Do you think one team's going to drop off?
I think the way it's going, it's looking like a 3-horse race, to be fair. I mean, all 3 teams yesterday, not just Peterborough and Hull, we all scored late on. We're all up against it. We came back from behind. Hull came back from behind, proved that they're still trying to do the best. Peterborough, again, ground out the result, even though it was a 50-50 game against Fleetwood. They slightly had more possession against Fleetwood. Slightly had, they had a few more shots in Fleetwood, but it was an even-Steven game, so all 3 teams are in it. Now, what's interesting for me, if Doncaster can stay in the hunt for the playoffs, they're only 3 points behind the playoff place, and they have a game in hand over some of the teams above. Now, Peterborough have got to play Doncaster twice, I think, home and away in the last 4 games. So for me, that's going to be interesting if Doncaster can stay in the hunt. So we want Doncaster to keep on fire, keep on sort of playing. Yeah, Michael?
Yeah, no, I was going to say that like, if you're looking at just as the fixtures, not only in Peterborough's last 5, they've got to play Donny twice. They've also got to play Gillingham, who are in the hunt for a playoffs. They've got to play Lincoln, who, again, contrary to what I've said before, even though I think they've overperformed, they'll still want to try and finish in the top 6. And they've got to go to Charlton as well, who've just had a new manager. So that's kind of that's the whole point. I mean, if you look at Hull's last 4, I think, are us, Lincoln, Wigan, and Charlton. So out of the last few games, I would favour, on paper anyway, where obviously games aren't played on paper, but at the minute you would favour our running our more tricky set of fixtures are in the next 5. I think the next 5, maybe Wigan aside, although that won't be straightforward because they're battling to save their lives down the bottom. The other 4, I think we've got Peterborough, Charlton, Blackpool, and Hull in the next 5, and we need to do well in these fixtures to set us up going into the last 4 for me.
See, for me, with those hard fixtures for Peterborough, it's imperative to me that we do not lose that match tomorrow. I know a draw wouldn't be a bad result.
Yeah, agreed. Just avoid defeat, in my opinion. Just a comment that I saw on the live chat, Robert Foster saying the best defence versus the best attack, it's got a draw written all over. I'm not sure if we are the best defence. I know we've got the most clean sheets, but I'm trying to say, thank the Lord that our defence has recently improved in recent weeks, because I wouldn't have wanted to play Peterborough a little while ago when we were struggling defensively and losing a lot of games, because we need to be careful defensively with how good they are going forward.
Right, fair enough.
I did think yesterday, sorry, Phil. I thought McLaughlin and Jones linked up very well. That's promising.
Right, we will move on to onto the game tomorrow. Just very quickly, we've got 161 people on the stream, 46 likes. We like to on a Sunday get 100 likes. If you just hit the thumbs up, please give us a like. It'll take you a second to do. If you're on a mobile device and you've got the live chat open, just close that down. You'll see the thumbs up. Hit that and let's get us to 100, please. On the chat, Michael Frank says, tomorrow we've got to watch out for a Peterborough lad called Harrison Burrows. I don't know of him myself. Young lad, a lot of potential. Can put in a very good cross. Very good. Yes, very good, Jack. So this is it then. Tomorrow, Peterborough versus Sunderland. We got the win. We got the win on Good Friday. So before we go into the game, just a quick yes or no. Do you take a point right now? If you could take a point right now, are you happy with that, Jack?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Terry?
Yes, I'd settle for a draw tomorrow. Definitely.
Michael?
I'd be content with a draw.
You would be content? Okay, well, we would all be happy. All right. So everybody's nervous about it. You know, this is the game. This is the one to win.
This is the one.
Poor pitch. What are your thoughts on it? Jack, we'll start with you.
I think a key thing going into this game is to remember how good Peterborough are and to an extent respect their attacking capabilities. I mean, the top scorers in the league, they put 7 past Accrington not too long ago. They're a great side going forward. Tend to play 4-2-3-1 with Schmodix, Dembele, and I think it's Grant or their other players on the right. Ward, I think it is, with Johnson Clark-Harris up top, who's just a great strike. I mean, I think it looks as if it's going to be him and White going neck and neck for who's going to get the most goals, but a great overall plays, hold-up plays, really good as well. So I think what's going to be important tomorrow, well, absolutely imperative, actually, is to not overcommit. I'm not saying sit back, I'm not saying welcome it, but the first 30 to 40 minutes, especially Peterborough at home, they've got the fantastic home record. They will unleash a barrage of attacks, and we've got to cope with that. And that's why I wouldn't be too opposed to the idea of seeing us potentially even stick another defensive midfielder in there. Maybe that slightly contradicts me saying I don't want us to sit back, but at the same time, we can't overcommit. Because if we overcommit and leave gaps, Peterborough will absolutely destroy us. They will exploit us. We've got to be so careful with how we go forward, especially in the early stages of the game when Peterborough tend to be red hot. I really, really hope that we don't get too confident, we don't get too cocky, and we understand that Peterborough are a great side going forward. And as much as I would normally say, let's take it to teams, let's control the game, let's go at teams. Maybe in this instance, it might be a smarter and wiser and more careful decision to just back off a little bit and look to weather the storm, especially in the early stages of the game. Because if we commit going forward too early, and they get a few goals, which they're capable of doing, they're capable of having games wrapped up 30 minutes into the game. That rest 60, that other 60 minutes, you give yourself no chance. We shouldn't really be in the position to say this, whatever. But, and I say it somewhat reluctantly, but we need to be careful of Peterborough tomorrow. We really, really do. And I wouldn't commit too much. We've got to consider more, keep ourselves in the game. I do back us to still give them a good game. It's rather that let's be conscious of the fact that early on they can wrap games up very early on and leave us with no chance. But I still do back us in all fairness.
All right. Thanks, Jack. For me, like, our performances have not been good at all over the last, half a dozen games, really. We've got the points, great. But I think we're due a decent performance. And, I agree it's going to take a good performance tomorrow against these. Just very quickly on the chat, Jimmy says 4-1 to Sunderland. I think that's a little bit optimistic, but that would be nice. Mark Bolton says win tomorrow. And it's snowing up in the northeast of Scotland. I think we're due a bit of snow tomorrow, possibly, when we're out delivering parcels. All the joys. Chris Bowman says definitely take a point. Does Bailey Wright have a chance to be back tomorrow? Anybody know?
Well, I think him not playing tomorrow might have potentially been to play in him maybe coming in tomorrow. I mean, he has been training as of late. I know that Hume played in the 23s. I think he played 75 minutes and he played 45 against Gator in a friendly. I haven't heard about Wright's involvement in those games, so I don't know. But if he is, I don't know what other people think. Maybe this can be a debate later on. But I'd be very tempted to bring him into the defence. Actually.
All right. Somebody else is asking if Denver Hume is in the squad, and Blake Burns says there. If Hume or Wright are fit, would you risk either of them? Terry?
I wouldn't be changing any centre-backs at this moment in time. If we're going to change something to make the midfield stronger, so the midfield are capable of helping out the centre-backs.
Winchester back in for me.
Right, fair enough. Michael, what do you think to the game tomorrow? Are you confident? You're nervous? How do you feel?
Oh God, I'm always nervous. Well, I'm nervous at this stage of the season anyway. But the prospect of tomorrow is terrifying.
A nervous poo.
Like Jack said, right? Yeah. But what yous were like for Wembley, I'm kind of like what Phil was like for Wembley. I'm like for this game, actually. Funnily enough.
Yeah,
this game, how Sunderland manage it is going to be crucial to whether we get a result or not. And the conspiracy, it might be a conspiracy that I've got. One of the reasons, one player for me that has to start tomorrow is Aidan O'Brien. I know there's been people that has got his critics, but I think a lot of people don't recognise the work he does off the ball. Football itself is not just always about goals and assists. You have to do a lot of dogged work, a lot of off-the-ball stuff. And tomorrow, there's going to be whether we like to admit it or not, there are going to be spells in the game where Peterborough are going to dominate the ball. They're going to have a lot of possession. They're going to have a lot of the territory. Tomorrow, having someone like O'Brien, and I think it's going to be a massive help if Sunderland are going to stand a chance of getting a good result. And like Jack said, I think that you've got, again, it's about the game management. It wouldn't surprise me in Peterborough's game against Accrington, the 7-0. If Accrington tried to commit forward early, what happened? They're 3-0 down within 20 minutes. The game's over. We cannot afford to do that. So early on tomorrow, we're probably going to have to back off a little bit. Not to the point where we sit back, because apparently, from what I've listened to a few podcasts and listened to a couple of Peterborough fans, apparently teams that press Peterborough do tend to have success against them. But the difference is we need to time our press spot on.
Yeah.
We need to press in numbers, be in symmetry with each other. If one person's pressing, another one slots into a position to cover. We've got to make sure that we get this spot on. Defensively, we are going to have to be on point, and I mean spot on, to get some. As much as I partly would have been tempted to bring Bailey right back in, I don't want to mess with the back line at the minute, because I think that as much as I'm not Conor McGutton's biggest fan. He played okay on Friday night. He played okay on Friday against Oxford, and I think you need to keep the back four settled as it is, because we have to. For me, our best chance of beating Peterborough is keeping a clean sheet. Now, that's the difficult bit, because that's easier said than done. They've got Johnson Clark-Harris, who I know there's a lot of debate about him and Wykers, who's better. I think Clark-Harris is the best striker in the league. Clark-Harris, he's capable easily of scoring a few goals. Sammy Smodek's someone who links up play really well. Sariki Dembele's a very good player. They've got Mo Issa, who could come off the bench to maybe make an impact. They've got someone called Jack Taylor, I think, who apparently dictates a lot of the midfield. How Sunderland are going to have to probably compact the midfield to an extent where we don't get overrun in midfield, because if we let Peterborough overrun us in midfield, they will connect to their forwards and they will score goals. I'd like to hope that Lee Johnson knows all of this and is actually planning very specific. Well, I hope he does anyway. I'm hoping that he's very thorough in his preparation for this game. That's why I think O'Brien didn't play against Oxford, because that's a sort of game where Sunderland are expected to dictate a bit more of and bring the game to our opponents. Whereas O'Brien, I think this game, if O'Brien plays to his best, this could suit him really well. It's a very, very difficult game. If Sunderland manage it properly, we could very well come away with 3 points. But it's also, and as much as I know, as much as a lot of people might say, I've seen a few people say, "Oh, I don't really want to draw in this game." I think people do need to remember that it's vitally important to not let Peterborough go 5 points clear of us, because that would happen if we lose the game. And although it wouldn't be impossible to finish top two from there, it does become that little bit extra more difficult. So at worst, get a draw. It would be great to get a win, because that could be a real momentum booster for us. But there you go. Just make sure you get something at the very least.
And breathe. Right, just very quickly, because I don't know if Jack was wanting to pick his nose or if he's got his finger up to come in. Just before you do, Jack, I've lost it. Oh, Robert Foster says, listening to Michael, we might as well just give Peterborough the 3 points now. Jack, you was wanting in there, mate.
Yeah, a couple of people were saying that I was bigging them up. Maybe I was. Maybe I was a bit guilty of bigging them up a little bit too much. But I just think they're by far the best attacking side in the league, and we need to be conscious of that. But just something that David Walker said, Michael, he said that if Wright is fit, play him and push 09 into midfield. But even if Wright wasn't fit and we play someone else there, would you be tempted to take 09? Well, let's say the options there to take 09 out of defence and put him in midfield. Would you be tempted to put 09 in there, similarly to putting O'Brien in the forward line? Just to have a bit more of a competitive and tenacious midfield to put up with the pressure that Peterborough are going to put on us. Could put on us, I should say.
Possibly. The only player I'd be tempted to do in that scenario would be Bailey Wright. If Bailey Wright was available to come in centre-half, if he's not going to be very match sharp, but if he's near enough match fitness, then possibly. I just think for me, I would just be tempted to leave it as it is for the moment, because if you had someone like Winchester or Powell or Scowen in midfield, that should be a combative enough midfield to counter what Peter's going to offer. Like you said yourself, I know obviously with the argument we might as well give them the 3 points out. I don't think people realize we cannot underestimate how good Peterborough are going forward. If we underestimate how good they are going forward, we will not win the game. So maybe I do give teams too much respect, but either way, we're going to have to. It's all, like I said, it's all about how we set up and manage the game. Because I looked it up, I think they've only lost twice at home in League One all season. One was a few weeks ago against Hull. One was against Hull a few weeks ago, but that was because they went down to 10 men. The other one was against Blackpool, I think, at the back end of November. So if you take out going down to 10 men against Hull, they haven't lost at home in the league since the end of November. That's alone.
That's how good they are.
And they're used to playing on yeah, exactly. And they're used to playing on that. That pitch does not look very good, but they're used to playing on it. That's the thing. However, we went to Accrington a couple of weeks ago and managed to win on a pitch like Accrington's. So,
thanks, Michael. Just very quickly, Adam French on the chat says, glad to see Bauer's internet has been fixed somewhat. Well, that was from proceeds that people donated via the super chat. We did get some boosters, and we sent the men round to Michael's house to install them, and he's now on the Superfast highway. Also, Mark Bolton on the chat says, lads, calm down. We will be fine tomorrow. Lee Johnson is not like Parkinson or Ross. He knows what he's doing. Terry, are you feeling about tomorrow? Are you nervous? Are you confident? What do you think?
It's strange. I was more nervous for the Oxford match for some reason. Now one of them's out of the way. Now for me tomorrow, I would be tempted to change it to 4-3-3. I want to bolster up the midfield. I want to help the defence out a bit. I'd either bring Leadbitter back as a holding midfielder or have Powell as a holding midfielder, then either have Powell and Winchester or Scowen and Winchester as the two midfielders who can go forward and have loads of energy to go backwards and forwards. I loved the way Jones defended against Oxford. I thought he was up and down the pitch, loads of energy. We need to have that width with McGeady and with Jones to try and get the ball in the box for White. We can't always just sit back. And so long as Scowen and Winchester are busy tomorrow, and we have that holding midfielder, I think we'll do okay. Now, for me, I wouldn't bring back Bailey Wright just yet. It's too soon for me. If we did go on to lose this game for whatever reason, it isn't the end of the world. We've got plenty of games to come back into the league still. And it isn't over for Hull, really. Tomorrow, Hull are playing Northampton. Everyone thinking it's going to be an easy game. Northampton, they beat Portsmouth 4-1. They beat Shrewsbury yesterday. They beat Oxford 2 games ago. So it's no forlorn hope that Northampton could turn over Hull. Northampton could very well turn over Hull tomorrow. So even a draw against Peterborough wouldn't be a disaster. But we need to make sure the midfield is better than it was against Oxford. And we need to help the defence a little bit with all that attacking, the players that Peterborough have, say, with, the Dembele and all those players and everybody else, Smodics and your Clark Harrises. So we need to help. We need to hold the midfielder and two midfielders that can run their socks off tomorrow, backwards and forwards, up and down the pitch, and give it absolutely everything.
I tend to agree with you.
I feel ready to go now, Terry. I feel like I could play.
I tend to agree with you what you say about Northampton and Hull. Northampton are fighting for their lives as well, and this stage of the season, and they've had a couple of good wins. So it's by no means a foregone conclusion that they're going to Hull are going to win. Chris Scott on the chat says Wright isn't. And where's Jason Ashman? He watched Posh against Blackpool, and geez, an under-21 team could have beaten them. Yes, they scored 7, but how many points did they get? 3.
Overall, through the course of a season, they've done really well. They're the top scorers in the league. Yeah, that's one game, and I guess you could dig me out for saying that I was only using a one-game example with Accrington, but they are the top goal scorers in the league. From the start of the season, they've done this consistently. I'm not saying they are going to score loads of goals. I'm saying they've got the potential where if we do leave ourselves exposed, they will exploit it. They aren't like any other League One team, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, fair enough. Michael, you want in there?
Yeah, I would also point out, to be fair, that Fleetwood managed to frustrate them and apparently, from what people have been saying, match them for 89 minutes. Now, if Fleetwood are able to do that, there's absolutely no reason Sunderland can't.
Right, okay. Peterborough not renowned for falling away, though. It's like bottling it at the end, haven't they? They've done that in the past. Any one of you, Jack, have they?
Peterborough bottled it.
Well, I mean, have they not?
They've always started off the season really well and dropped off around Christmas time-ish, and then kind of picking up a little bit as the season's coming on. They're a bit like Leeds, where like Leeds in the Championship always had that storming start of the season, dropped off, picked up a little bit, but missed out on automatics and finishing the playoffs. Peterborough haven't made the playoffs for a while, but they tend to bottle it earlier in the season. They've went through that stage already.
Right, fair enough. Just very quickly on the chat, Adam French says, we Philly, Dodds and Mad Mistake in the middle could do better than Power and Scowen. So obviously not you, Michael, just us three, but don't worry about that.
No, I mean, you three probably be more athletic than me, so I'm more than happy to concede that.
Michael's at the back to win the headers.
Yeah, I'm partnering with John Sanderson and Bailey Wright. We're in the back three, you see.
Right, all right. Just very quickly, 193 people watching the live stream. We got 82 likes. We're only after 100. If you want to hit the thumbs up, helps out there. It'll take you a second to do. Right then, lads. What about predictions then for this big game tomorrow? I've got mine written down, and it's probably going to be Terry always copies me, so
go to Terry first, then.
So I'll go first because Terry's got his written down. All right. It's not going to be easy, and it's going to be a close game, but I'm still going to go for
You've watched my preview. You've watched my preview.
Watch all your previews. It's going to be a 1-0 Sunderland win. Is that what you got, Terry? Really? Is that what you got? See, you always... Oh! Right.
Terry stole my prediction.
Right. Well, I'm going 1-0. Terry's going 2-1. I haven't got a clue what Michael's prediction is going to be, but we'll ask him anyway. Michael, what's your prediction going to be?
I was debating between 1-1 or 2-1 Sunderland, but I'm going to touch every bit of wood that's near us. 2-1 Sunderland. If we manage the game spot on, we can win. But we have to be spot on.
I've got to say, I'm not as worried about it. I think when Terry said he was more nervous about the Oxford game, there's something in that because we're expected to win the Oxford game. This is, I don't think it'll be as bad as you're making out. I think we'll. I'm fairly confident.
It all depends on our game management, in my opinion. It could be a disaster, but it could go really well. It depends on how we manage the game, in my opinion.
Right, fair enough. Before I go to you, Jack, for your prediction, there are predictions coming in on the chat. Thane says 1-0 to Sunderland. Ty Dobbs 2-1 Sunderland. Danny Willis 2s apiece. Jimmy is still going with his 4-1. I so hope you're right there, Jimmy. Conrad, our editor, says 2-2. Jason Ashman 3-1 Sunderland. 2-2 Chris Scott. Anthony Perth 3-1. 1-1. Stephen Winship. Jack, what about your prediction, mate?
Well, I've not said this for a long time, but going into this game, I would take a point. Well, we would take a point for Peterborough away. I still back us to win. I think we'll win 2-1, but I think it all depends on our game management and how we judge the game and how we cope with what they put forward. If we manage that well, I'd fully back us to take it with the 3 points. And I back Johnson to do that, actually, because I think he's got that football intelligence to understand how to cope with different teams. I'll predict 2-1 Sunderland, but I think having said that, I would still take a point because we've got a lot of winnable games after that point as well.
I would much rather the 4-1 Sunderland prediction came off well enough, but unless Peterborough went down to 10 or 9 men, that won't happen.
Right, well, just very quickly, I want to say a massive thank you to Marianne Carlo over in Boston, Massachusetts, has donated $5 to the channel. Thank you very much. Of course, via the super chat, which you can purchase. You just hit the $sign underneath the chat. But please remember, it is still free. You can do it for free. It is purely a donation to help the channel, if you like. And it's gratefully appreciated. Liam Hardy on the chat says, Wise Michael got a picture of the wrong side of the Tyne and Weir on his wall. So
because I did not
Michael,
decide what went up on the walls in the living room. That's why.
I think you need to have words, Michael. In fact, maybe what we'll do on the super chat, we will maybe get you a nice picture of the Wearmouth Bridge and the Weir and all that with the boats on and something like that for future reference. So I did ask Jack for his prediction, and because I'm very old, what did you say, Jack? Because I've not written it down.
So 2-1 Sunderland.
2-1. So you lot have all gone 2-1. I've gone 1-0. So we've all gone for a win. So more than take that. Are we going to be? Let me just find our little our new little hashtag down here.
There we go.
So win tomorrow.
Philly,
are we going to be?
Are we on top? Give it up. You've been saying this for years.
It's Easter Monday. Well, are we going to be top by Easter? That's what I would like to know. On the end of the tag. No, it does. Oh, why do you have to be piggy like that and just ruin it? Goodness sake, man. Honestly, I tell you what. You'll be
okay, here's
detention.
What then. We'll beat Peterborough 2-3-0 and Hull will lose 3-0 to Northampton. There you go. That's how we'll be top.
Detention and double homework for Jack Dodds. Just very quickly, Adam French on the chat as well has purchased a super sticker down there and donated $4.99. $4.99. Round of applause for Adam French. Thank you very much for your donation. Right, so we're all confident then that we're going to get this win. What I want to talk about now is it was in the press. I've seen it today, I think, that if we get promoted to the Championship, KLD is going to give Lee Johnson a £60 million transfer budget. So what I'd like to ask you, if we get 60 million to spend in the Championship, all right, does that mean we're actually going to push for promotion first time round? And is 60 million enough to sort of like put us up there and amongst it? Jack?
Yeah, well, I read Alan Nixon's tweet, and I think he said something along the lines that it wouldn't all be for the same transfer window. I think that could be slightly wrong. Alan Nixon tweeted out, I believe, saying that it would be, if we got promoted, it's not all to be spent at once, but the 60 million. I mean, if we're going to spend it all in one transfer window, you would expect the side that's just invested 60 million to be challenging for the top of the Championship without a shadow of a doubt. Anything less than being right up there at the top challenging is... well, it's a waste of £60 million. But I think it could be for a few transfer windows as opposed to one. So I think it depends on whether we spend it all at once. But if we spend it all at once, you've got to be looking to challenge at the top, spending 60 million in the Championship.
Right, fair enough. I've just read on the chat here, DJ Sizzler Watson, 2-0 Sunderland, and apparently he's just sent £10 to our email via PayPal. Thank you very much for your donation.
Thank you,
helping the channel out. Thank you very much. DJ Sizzler Watson.
Fantastic name.
So am I? So am I right to assume then, Jack, that this is 60 million between the summer transfer window and the January transfer? Is that what we're saying?
I'll get Alan Nixon's tweet up because he was the one who said something that it wouldn't be all spent at once. I mean, it could be for years. You just don't know. If you go to someone else very quickly, I'll get his tweet he put up this morning.
Right. Okay. Michael, then, £60 million transfer budget in the Championship is a hefty amount of money, I would say. I mean, it's exciting if that's the case. Is it enough for us to then push for automatic promotion next season, providing we go?
Well, first of all, obviously the first thing is we've got to make sure we are in the Championship and we're having this conversation in the summer. But if we hypothetically, so in this scenario we did get promoted, then It's a difficult one because 60 million. I mean, I'd be pretty surprised if we spend 60 million pound in one window. I think we do need to not necessarily watch what we're spending, but just make sure we don't go absolutely ridiculous. Because under Ellis Short, we did that a lot, and we were in a very, very sorry state towards the end of his reign. So we need to manage what we spend quite well. I think a lot of it is going to be down to, because Lee Johnson, to be fair, has been quite good at this at Bristol City, where he's found players, unknown quantities, in leagues you wouldn't expect. So say Leagues 1 and 2, the Scottish Premier League, something like, it's not Celtic or Rangers, something like that, where you'll find hidden gems, really develop them, and then make a profit and sell them on. And that, so while we want to try and, it depends, if we have £60 million to spend, that does suggest to me we're going to have a go. Because you do need, if we went up this season and wanted to be going for back-to-back promotions, which I personally don't think would happen, even though I would love to see it, obviously, that would suggest to me we're going to have a crack at it. And I'd like to think that, like, I think something Mad Mistake said, I think it was a couple of streams ago, ago, was quite good, actually, because we're not going to be in the Championship just to make up the numbers, and nor should we be. I still firmly believe that at the minute, Sunderland are the biggest club outside the Premier League, and I believe that players should see us that way. They should see us as the biggest draw in the Championship next season. And I mean, like I said, I would still maintain it if the current bottom three came down, Fulham, Sheffield United, and say, West Brom. I think we're still the biggest club in the Championship next season if we got promoted. So I'd love to see it. That season I would expect, if we were going to spend money, might be a season like what Sheffield United did before they got promoted to the Premier League, where they stormed the Championship to a degree and just miss out on the playoffs. If we had that as the first season, even with that money to spend, I wouldn't be too disappointed, because you're going to have to embed new players into the side, and while keep the same spirit there, but upgrade the quality.
Right, very quickly on the chat, Acacia Cameron Jude, friend of the show, hi Acacia, says, hi lads, so sorry I'm late. Well, that is detention and double homework for you as well.
You can join Jack.
Joining me, you're joining me.
Nice. Nigel Dunn, friend of the show, says, finally a war chest, 60's enough. He says, Chris Bowman says, not enough for me. Jason Ashman says, it's absolute tosh. No owner would come out and tell a little gadget from the press, the club budget. Terry, what do you think? 60 million?
I completely agree with that last lad who said that. There's no way he's going to come out and say that. KLD is an intelligent young lad. He's probably got a good team behind him. He's not going to give out any information whatsoever what's going on. But like I said, like Michael said, I said before, what?
But surely he's not come out and told the press. This has surely come from within, where they know the budget and then it's been leaked. He's not gone to the press and said, well, we've got 60 million to send.
A lot of the time, things like this get out just to get clicks. Like this could be the complete load of drivel. That's a rumour someone's made up and spread to get clicks. I mean, the official tweet says Sunderland new owner has 60 million to spend on the side after promotion. Won't be all spent at once, but available. Big pressure on it this season. Now, take that how you will, but and I'm not saying it is the way, but things like this can often be done just to generate discussion and get clicks, as opposed to being reliable news.
Right. Okay, Jack. We did interrupt. Sorry about that. Sorry, continue.
Sorry, go on. If it is true, it's good news. But if it is being leaked, then obviously KLD won't be happy with the person who's leaked it unless he's given permission for it to be leaked. But I mean, for me, he's going to have a war chest, because I think he said a 5-year plan. I don't think in the 5-year plan he would expect to put us to get promoted first time we're asking. So let's say, for instance, in his 5-year plan, season 1 was to finish in League 1. Season 2, next season, full season with him in charge, promotion. Third season, Championship, consolidate, mid-table towards playoffs in the Championship. Fourth season, get promoted, and then you have your 5th season in the Premier League. But if we get promoted this season, then he'll have his war chest. He'll go ahead with the Championship, consolidate Championship to get in the top half. 3rd year, get promoted. 4th year in the Premier League. Now, anything above those two is a bonus. Now, for me, he's brought in Lee Johnson and obviously the guy, Mr. Speakman as well, to bring in players with this war chest. I think amongst the pair of them, we will find some quality players out there. And if it is £60 million and the Sun's correct, then I think it's enough, easily enough to get promoted. Now, whether they come in and these players who are getting paid better wages, work together as a team under Lee Johnson's another thing. You need a bit of luck along the lines to get the right sort of personalities in who are going to play well as a team, get the right sort of blend of old heads and youngsters to play well together. But I think the right teams there is in the background, Lee Johnson, Speakman and KLD. And for me, the only way is up, and it's a matter of time before we're back in the Premier League, never mind Championship. If we get promoted this season, for me, it's a bonus.
All right. Back on the chat, Bradley Young, friend of the show. Hi, Bradley. Says, I think we'll get top 4 in the Championship and we'll win the playoffs, and Newcastle will get relegated to League One. That's a bit of
imagine that
one. Yeah. Acacia Cameron Jude again says, I've lost it on it. Oh, I'll join Jack in detention. Oh, Jack.
There we go. Of course you will. 2 of us now.
There you go. I think for me, if it is true, this 60 million, it puts out a statement, and there's no reason why it wouldn't be. KLD seems to have the funds, and he seems to be the guy who's gonna back us. Michael, you want in?
I think we also have to remember with the 3 teams coming down from the Premier League as well, because they're going to have parachute payments, and they're probably going to have much bigger. Even the likes of Sheffield United and West Brom probably have more spending power than us. I mean, I know obviously we have KLD who probably just have financial backing, but I mean that those clubs have got parachute money, and they're going to be able to. And sometimes a lot of clubs that are relegated from the Prem, the first season tends to be viewed as the best chance to go straight back up. That's where you get something like, I think it's nearly £50 million in parachute payments. Personally, for me, I think £60 million again would be a statement. I don't think it would be enough though, because you have to, unless you found good bargains consistently that are also good enough. You've got to remember we've got to gel a team together, and it's another separate issue with the contracts we've got, because we're going to need to keep a core of the team that we've got to make sure we've got a squad, and that we don't have to do a complete overhaul, because that's the last thing we need to be doing. But I'd love to see it be enough. My instinct says it won't be, but I could be wrong.
I think it's got to be enough to put yourself in the conversation at the very least.
Just very quickly, Acacia on the chat.
I think it's enough to have you just below the playoffs.
Fair enough. Acacia on the chat says the Blades don't have that much, Michael, apparently. Terry, was you trying to get in there?
Yeah, I think it's on the plus side of things. I think a lot of players who are top end of the Championship will want to come to Sunderland, because they do see some sort of future us getting promoted in the Premier League rather than other teams. Now that we have a decent war chest, a decent owner, decent management structure, I think it's more of a catchment now, because if these younger players want to get promoted into the Premier League, it could be through a team with ambition like Sunderland.
Right. Thane, friend of the show, says, if the budget is true, we could be back in the Premier in 3 to 4 years. Now, for me, I think if we have 60 million, I think 60 million is a big budget in the Championship. And I think if we've got 60 million to spend, I definitely think we'll be up there at thereabouts. I don't know whether you agree with that or not. I don't know, but it's all about opinions in it.
Let's get there first.
Yeah.
Oh, but Michael, man, away, man. We're winning this league easily. God, honestly.
What is
Dino's
the
not here, so you go on. Sorry, Terry.
Does anybody know, probably Michael, what is the financial fair play for the amount of money you can spend in the Championship? Is it something like 40 million over 2 seasons?
I don't know, but I think isn't it meant to be something like, I don't know, it's something up to 60% of your overall turnovers on wages? I don't know. I think if you're going to compare, if we're wanting to, obviously the long term aim we know it's to get back to the Premier League, which is where we belong. But if next season, if you're in the Championship and you're looking to compete at the top end of the Championship, you're going to have to compare to, again, clubs that have just come down. I'll give you an example. If Fulham came down, I know obviously some Sunderland fans want Newcastle to come down, but say Fulham came down, you would back Fulham to have spending power because they've gone up, gone down, gone up, gone down. They would be a team that probably I would have confidence in Fulham going straight back up. There's going to be that's the sort of area of the table you're going to have to compare to if that's where we want to be. And I think other clubs would just have a bit more money than what we have, considering we've been in League One for 3 years and we haven't got any parachute money.
Right. Was it somebody on the panel Thursday, did they not say about if Newcastle did come down, it would then open the door for the Saudis to move in and buy them? Terry, did you say that?
I said that, yeah. Apparently the Premier League have blocked it, but the AFL have no problem with them taking over. Again, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've been led to be understandable.
Oh, I've got to say then, if that is true, one of the
you
worst
want them to
things
stay up then, don't you?
Yeah,
that's why I'm not bothered about them staying up, to be fair.
Yeah, one of the worst things for us, if they came down and the Saudis bought them out, that's it. They'd be another Man City then, and we'd have to live with that. I've come out in a sweat. I don't even want to think about that. Yeah, right. Well, fair enough. Look, it's been a good show. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I've had 113 likes. Thank you very much. 4 people out there didn't approve of what we did and give us a thumbs down. But thank you anyway. As we've said, it's always about opinions. We are going to be back tomorrow with a live stream of the game on this channel. So, and I believe it's going to be Jack, Michael, and Conrad.
It won't be me because I'm at work, unfortunately.
My God.
Why didn't? And when was you going to let me know that?
So I'd let you know about tomorrow morning, but I thought I'd let you know tonight instead.
Let them know live on air, Michael, above anything else.
Exactly. Get Jacob on. Jacob will do it, I'm sure.
I've done all the artwork and everything. Never mind. All right. Right. Well, we are back tomorrow. Don't ask me who's on because I haven't got a clue. But tune in anyway from 2:30 tomorrow. Excellent commentary by the lads, and of course the Mad Mistake on his own channel will be doing his own unique style of commentary on the match. So once again, thank you very much for tuning in. So from myself, Wee Philly, from Jack Dodds, from the Mad Mistake, and from Super Sexy Bowers, we'll see you, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Bye bye.